Hey guys, this is Marie from Buffalo. Thank you for joining us on this session. We are here with Kenyana David. She's an inbound marketing, inbound sales, content marketing, and email certified specialist. So definitely have enjoyed working with Kenyana. We had her with us last year at Freelance Business Week Buffalo. So we are excited and happy to share her and her knowledge with you. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on and let her introduce herself. And before we get into her, hi, Kenyana.
Hey, Marie. Hey.
Great to see you. Before I let her go ahead and take over, just a few things. If you are here now or during the replay, be sure to check out the comments, interact. We will be checking back regularly on comments that happen. We'll be talking about the ones during the session, but then also afterwards, we will check back for any of those of you who tune in for the replays. And then this is not the last nor the first that you've seen Buffalo this week. We had two speakers earlier this week, Kim and Nakia, which went great. So I'm super excited to go ahead and bring Kenyana in. And tomorrow, the last day of Freelance Business Week, Buffalo is kicking off. So we will have a co-working panel of local co-working organizers and owners. So that'll be really fun. And then we also have two additional speakers later in the afternoon. Sorry, I pulled this off the top of my head. Don't forget, we have another speaker this afternoon, Abby. So super excited to have her. There's a lot left from Buffalo, so make sure you check your schedule, get signed up. If you do miss them, there are replays on every session. So I will let you go ahead and take over, Kenyana. I'll take myself off the screen and pull up your presentation when you're ready.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome.
All right. So can you see my screen? Okay, great. Awesome. So, hey, humans. Hey, I am Kenyana with 8118. I am stoked about this session, about this week, about Freelance Business Week. I love the conversations that happen here. I love the opportunity to have real, authentic conversations with other business humans about things that matter in my space with marketing. So this year with the Breaking Boundaries theme, I threw out my initial presentation because I felt like this is a super opportunity to super serve you a conversation about marketing, about email marketing specifically. So a little bit about me. I am the founder at 8118, and we're all about email marketing. It's my jam. It's the thing that I eat, sleep, and breathe. Outside of work, I am a part-time professor at Medaille College. I teach in the Business Management and Leadership Department. I teach marketing to juniors and seniors, and I also teach in the Humanities Department, and I teach critical thinking. So for today, it's a merger of moods for me, and that we're going to talk about email marketing and what it really is. Like, take out the jargon, take out all the terms and best practices. What is it? So very simply, I help female entrepreneurs make money with email marketing. So typically the conversation is about ROI and client acquisition and things of that nature. But today we are going to break those boundaries and just talk about personalizing and what it really means. What does it mean to get personal with someone? And ultimately, if the goal with email marketing is to make money, how it starts. So I'm going to jump right in because like I said, I'm stoked. And I want to start with a quote we've heard a million times over, and we're going to unpack it though. So we're going to talk about what this really means, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and what it feels like as a business owner. So you've probably heard of the know, like, trust factor in some way or another, but this is the full quote and where it's from. So Bob Burg is an author, and he wrote Endless Referrals. And in that, he talked about if you keep everything the same, when you really think about how people do business and how they talk about that business that was done with other people and then refer, it's based on the fact that they know the person, they like the person, and they trust the person. And today we're going to talk about where that starts. What does it really mean to know someone, to like someone, and to trust someone, and what that means on the flip side. So let's spend some time on the know factor. What do folks know about you? So this conversation can start anywhere. So now in the online space, there's this idea that the conversation has to start online, that it has to be a conversation that started in the comments of a social media post, or had to start in the DMs of one of those social media or networking sites. But sometimes the know, like, trust factor starts outside, just regular networking. And the world is opening back up now, and there's more opportunities for people to get to know you. But it can be a simple conversation, sharing something with someone. So I typically work with female entrepreneurs. So a lot of times the conversation is about marriage. It's about children, or being a mom, or being a wife, I should say. Or it's about things that are going on in the moment. So like now there's a lot of schooling at home. So having those conversations and letting people get to know you, that you have these interests, or you have these things going on in your life, or you have these thoughts, that's a connector. And a lot of times we overthink connection. We overthink knowing. And then sometimes with overthinking, we feel, especially if you are private, not necessarily secretive, but just private, that you have to let everyone know everything. And that's not necessarily true. People decide what is a takeaway for them. So with what folks know about you, it could be simply that you are a business owner, and that's enough. They know that you're a business owner, and then that allows for the conversation to go deeper and further about you being a business owner. Most conversations, if we think about communication, which at the baseline of marketing is communication, at the baseline of email marketing, it's communication, mostly text-based, but it's still communication. So when you think about communication in and of itself, those are transferable into email marketing. So what you do outside of marketing is the same thing you do inside of marketing. And let me explain that. So if you meet someone at an event and you have a conversation, not your 60-second pitch. Let's not, think about it in that sense, in the business sense, but you just have a conversation. How's your day? How are you? What do you do? Have you been a part of this organization for a while? Whatever the conversation is, those are things that allow people to get to know you, right? And allows for an opportunity for the conversation to go further and them to get to know you more. So it could be, it was great talking to you. Let's do this again another time. It's the same thing with email marketing. And with what folks know about you, it starts before they become a subscriber. And I think I want to make sure that's noted as well, that a lot of times when we think of email marketing, we just automatically jump to subscriber. We skip the fact that before they were a subscriber, they were just another human. They were just another person on this earth that have not yet signed up for what you were doing. Excuse me. So with the no factor, it starts before the email. And then after the email, that's when you can share more. You can do more, very similar to outside of email marketing in the real world, just talking to people. You have some conversations and then you make plans to do it again later. So as people get to know you, that's when they start moving into liking you. And it's totally subjective, what folks like about you. You may think it's one thing, but it could be something completely different. There is less control over the like factor than the no factor. However, sometimes it's very surprising what people actually like about you. It could be that you are just authentic. You're just a good time. You like to have hard conversations, or you are just good energy. Those things are subjective, but you can share what you can control what people know about you for the most part. But what they like about you is so important. And the more you share, the more opportunity that you give them to like things about you. So for example, I absolutely love having just raw conversations about marketing. I am not super technical. I think there's a time and place for it, but I love just having raw, fun, energetic conversations that are practicable, that work, that make sense for the person or the human. Just, it's for them. They can take what they need, leave what they don't, but they can have the same success, create the same results or the results that they want by just having conversation. And some folks like that, but then some don't. So that's when I talk about the control part of it, because some people feel like that's awesome. Like we're just going to have a conversation. And then some people are like, no, I want to learn in a very structured manner. So with the like factor, it is important. People do business with people that they like. And not everyone necessarily likes the way you do things or like certain things, but they like other things. So that moves into trust. And with the example about how I teach or how I approach coaching, while some people like it and some people don't, they may like that the conversation is happening. So I want to make that very clear with the like, that it sounds negative initially, that not everybody's going to like things about you, but there are things that, unbeknownst to you, that they'll like, which would lead to trust. They know that they may have to ask more questions per se with me, but they trust that there's an answer. They trust that can still be a part of the conversation. And with people with trust, we'll unpack that a little bit more in a few minutes. But trust is so important when it comes to you as a business. Folks need to trust that you know what you're talking about, that you know that if they have a question, you can answer. They need to trust that you'll be on time with that information, in a sense of knowing your customer, ultimately, knowing them and being able to deliver. Excuse me, I got distracted. So being able to deliver the information, and that builds the trust. And let's unpack that even more with how you can personalize emails that will allow people to get to know you, allow them to like you, or decide to like you, and then ultimately trust you. So there are 4 major parts to this conversation as far as personalizing. And with personalizing, before we go deeper, let's unpack what that really means, because when you email or you Google email marketing, a lot of terms come up like personalization and automation and segmentation and a lot of other terms, and it can be a thing that disconnects you from the goal. All it really means is connecting with a person or a human, right? Personalizing is just humanizing the conversation. And then when you think of segmenting is just pulling apart their interests. So for example, if I'm trying to think of a good example to separate based on interests. So all the friends that you have, when you think about it, you have some friends that you talk about cooking with. You have some friends that you talk about children with. You have some friends that you talk about work with. That's segmenting. You're having different conversations with different people that matter to them. And then with automation, automation rolls into personalizing and segmenting in a sense of being on time with what you're sharing. So let's continue to unpack that with some different ways that you can personalize that doesn't seem so systematic. It doesn't seem so structured, and it's natural. It's things that you do now. So the first one is using names in your emails, using your name as far as where the email is from, not a do not reply, not sender, not company, but using your name or your company name when you're sending emails. Then that builds that I know who this is. And it also builds the trust in that people trust this particular brand. So if it's going to spam, they'll move it to the inbox and whitelist you. If you have already had a conversation in another email about how often you'll be sending emails, they'll know to look for your name on Wednesday when you send emails. But using names are so important as far as building that know and trust factor in emails, and also using a signature, using names throughout the email. I do want to point that out. So throughout the email, using a name, and if you don't know a person's name, say you've already been building your email list and you didn't capture a name, you were only capturing emails on a particular form, you can find a default name that's appropriate and fits your audience. And that may be, instead of, hey Jane, it's hey friend, or hey, super boss, whatever is your language, but using names in the email and throughout. So when you think of having a conversation in person in real life, you say hey or hi or hello, whatever is your language, and you have to stay connected to your language when it comes to the know, like, trust factor. So whatever language that you use in general for your brand is the language you use all the time. So if for me, I say hey, so I may say, hey Jane, how's it going? We're having a conversation like, Jane, did you know that this was a thing? And then at the end, I may say, it was so good connecting with you, Jane. Let's do it again later. So using names throughout, it's engaging, 1, it's connecting, 2, and 3, it lets them know you know who they are and you matter as a person on their email list. So whether you have a list of 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, when you use someone's name, even though they may know that they're on a list, personalizing it that way makes them feel connected to you or the business. And that's super important when it comes to personalizing and people believing that you are a human, that you are another human that's reaching out to them, a human, and connecting on whatever it is that you're talking about. So the names are important. And then sending relevant emails. And this goes into the conversation about segmentation. So people that say subscribe to my email list, the emails are about email marketing or something related. I will not be talking about football. It's not relevant to them. They're not interested in that. Our relationship and the things that they are connected to me by is email marketing or something that connects to email marketing or brings back to email marketing. So whether you are making an announcement or you're sharing a story or you are letting them know what's going on in your business, it still needs to be relevant. When it's not relevant, you break trust. You break trust because the connection is we have a common interest on email marketing. In my case, I like to talk about it. They like to learn about it. But if I break the trust by talking about sports for 2 weeks, they're very likely to unsubscribe. They don't believe that I'm going to, deliver the content that I promised. And then also with liking, they may not like football, so they don't like me now. And they don't like what I'm offering. So not only do they not believe that they know me, but they don't really like me or the direction I'm going in. And then they don't trust that I'm going to stay true to the initial offering that I put out there. So having relevant emails, it is equally as important as referring to them by name. So when someone is expecting your email, they are expecting it to be about something in particular. Now, there are times when there's an opportunity to build the no factor by sharing something going on with you or your family. There's a new baby in the family or you are traveling, but it still should tie back in some way to the thing that connects you. So it could be, for an example, I may say, I am traveling to, well, now with COVID, that's probably not a good example, but let's just say I am traveling to New York City. Let's stay in the country. So I'm traveling to New York City and I hate that I won't be able to get to local events, but through email marketing, I can share what's happening and all the cool things that I'm doing. So it still needs to tie back into it. And with the relevant emails, one of the things that is often a missed opportunity is that sometimes less is more when it comes to relevant emails. So even though, you're tied to a particular topic or topics, not having necessarily super long emails, because then it creates, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. It creates an annoyance. And sometimes that can break something like the like factor. Like I really, really like what they're talking about, but they talk for a long time. So when someone decides that, they make other decisions as well, like not to open the email or not to click on things in the email. And when it comes back to making money with it, people have to open the email and click on the offer in order for you to, have a return on investment or make money with email marketing. So when it comes to relevant emails and it comes to making money, you still want them to like you. So having conversations that are long enough, just like in person, if you ran into someone and you're having a conversation about the weather, they may want to see you because they love the conversation that you have about weather because of things they don't think about or they didn't know. But when you talk about it for 30 minutes, the next time they go the other direction. So relevant emails are important with their names in it, but that are to the point, and stay relevant to what you talk about with them generally. And then we move to valuable emails. So valuable emails are just as important as relevant emails. So what are they getting out of the conversation? What are they getting out of the email? What are you sharing with them? They can be relevant, but they also have to have some value to them. And when they're valuable, you work with the like and trust factor. So they like that you are giving them something that they can act on or that they can research. And with valuable, all content really, but all emails should do one of four things. It should entertain them. It should educate them. It should inspire them. And it should engage them. So with creating valuable emails, what's the value? What are you giving them? What are they getting? Why are they opening it? Why is this person should stay on your email list? Because a conversation that doesn't have any value, you don't typically engage in. Very much like in real life. If we don't feel that we're getting something out, they don't make us laugh, or they don't teach us something, or they don't inspire us, we're not engaged or motivated. Typically, we keep those conversations to a minimum. So with emails, part of the know, like, trust, particularly the like and trust, is the value that you're giving, the value that your business can potentially offer them with products and services. And this ranges. Every email, although it doesn't have to sell something, it still should be valuable. So if you're sharing a story about how you used to do things, or a lesson that you learned, or a best practice that you actually tried out that somebody recommended, it still should offer some value. So the value could be, do this, don't do this, or, and this, funny story made you laugh, but don't do this. Or with this lesson, I'm to teach them, what, go with what you know, go with your belly, whatever the lesson is, or whatever the thing that's going to educate them or entertain them, can persuade, motivate. There's a different value that you can offer, but either way, there should be value in what you're saying. And then sending authentic emails. So if you meet someone in person and your language is, hey, how's it going? And then you send an email, hello, how is your day? It sounds very different. And sometimes it confuses people and they feel like, I don't really know this person. Or I don't know if I like this. And I don't know what their voice sounds like. So it teeters on with trust. But being authentic, and I know that there are some best practices online about business voice and professionalism and, the we versus I when it comes to presenting yourself from business. But authentic emails always win. Authentic voices always win. When people know what to expect from you, it creates a whole series of opportunities down the line. So they may go from being on your email list to buying something from you, to referring business out for you, to ultimately being your biggest advocate. But the voice has to be the same. And whatever your voice is, we are all very different humans. We communicate very, very differently. And we attract people based on our authenticity. So there are some people, when I talked about earlier, Some will like it, some won't. And that's okay, but you will attract people that like you based on your authentic voice, how you really sound. If one of your email subscribers, for example, runs into you at an event and you sound completely different, there's a confusion. And ultimately, it's been used in different ways, but confused people don't buy. Confused people don't engage. Confused people don't support. So being authentic, and I know in the last several years, there's been a lot of conversation about personal branding and owning your voice. But there's also some confusion about that as a business owner. Like, how authentic can I be? I say a person feels like, well, I swear, I curse, and I don't know if that's okay. Or I don't like to use big words. Or I only like to use big words. Whatever is your jam, stick with it. Be authentic to you. And it's so much easier to create content. Create the emails that you need to send out for your business when your voice is authentic. It doesn't take as long. It doesn't require so much brain power because you know what you sound like and you know your stuff. As the owner, as the person working in the business, you know your stuff. You know what you need to put out there, and you shouldn't spend hours trying to figure out, well, how do I say this? How do I make this make sense? If someone called you or you ran into someone outside and they said, hey, I have a quick question, and you just give an answer. That's your authentic voice, and keep it. Keep the authentic voice, and that not only allows people to get to know you, but then they can decide if they like you. And when they like you, then there's that trust. I know that so-and-so, or you're going to give it to me straight, or you're going to talk my language. People buy from people they know and like and trust. So you can only sell that when you are authentic to you. And there aren't really many limitations to that. I think if you're respecting other humans, and you are being mindful of what you say, not how you say it, but, well, not so much. I take that back. I need to swap. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So you can have conversations, but how you say it and it being true to your voice, your thoughts, your feelings, your way of doing things, almost any conversation is possible. So with those are best practices that are, in my opinion, often skipped because they are so high level. The best practices are, focus on the subject line and the pretext line, and sometimes the body of the email, and sometimes even things like the template. And while they can tie into, authenticity, and they can tie into the know, like, trust, the high level, the things that no matter what you choose to do, no matter what practices you choose to exercise, no matter how you choose to run your business, high level, if it is relevant, if it's valuable, and if it's authentic, other things, you can plug them in as you go. And a lot of times too, the one thing I do want to touch on with authentic emails is right now it's a thing for folks to sell templates. And templates are great as a plug and play for the specifics. So a template will sometimes have a, hi blank. I am selling blank, blank, blank. Those are great starters, but do not lose your voice in a template. Read it over and read it out loud for yourself, because you may not use hi. You may not use hello. You may not say sell. You may say offer, or you may be more comfortable selling a certain way. So one of the biggest conversations that happen when it comes to marketing is how to sell. And, they've even divided them out into soft sale and hard sale. But this is when your authentic self comes into it, when it comes to how you sell. You may not be aggressive. You may not be you have to buy now. And some templates are designed to challenge you to make the offer, to sell the product, to win. And those are great. But I really, really challenge you to always stay authentic to yourself in your emails, because that's who your audience connects with. Templates are pretty generic. Sometimes they're a little spicy, where they'll have some trendy language in it. But if it's not your jam, it doesn't sound like you. And then it sounds like a template, and that's not the goal that you're going for. So I spend the most time on authentic emails, because that's personalizing, that's humanizing. You are you. You know what you know, and you know how to communicate it. You've created a business around a thing, a product and or service. And while we all have an opportunity and there's areas of improvement for how to make more sales, if you cannot sell authentically, does it count? Is it really a thing? Are you really connecting with people when you're not authentic? Are you building relationships when you're not authentic? Are you creating long-term relationships? So someone can sign up for your email list today and still be on that same list 10 years later. They're still supporting you. They're still buying from you. They're still coming to your events. They're still, engaged with you. But if you're not authentic, what does that look like a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And with you being authentic, if your jam, for me, say my jam is email marketing. When I'm not authentic, it's hard to stay relevant, and it's hard to offer value, because I'm so wrapped up in trying to create this sellable voice. There was all kinds of movements with language. There was the cis language, hey sis. There was another one. It was more like gender neutral, but there's like different trends of how to have personality, how to be a you that's not really you, but sound like a you. It was too much. It was team too much for a lot of people. But when you're just your authentic self, as whatever that sounds like, whatever that looks like, when you're authentic, it feels right and other people can feel it. And when you really think about business and the buying, the selling, the referring, that's just energy. So when it feels right, it's good energy, and it creates a opportunity for people to not only get to know you, get to like you, and get to trust you, but to share that with other people and to stay with you, and that is powerful, because we all know with business, it's so much easier and less expensive to retain customers and clients than to get new ones. So when you have people that's been around and supporting because they believe that they know you, they know that they like you, and they know that they trust you, then it creates so many opportunities for you to be successful in your business. And all those things that we do in life, those are transferable skills. I charge you to not overthink email marketing. They are just conversations by way of email. All the other things apply. All the same exact things apply. When you meet someone in person, it's the exact same thing. You use their name. You talk about something that's relevant to your relationship. And in some way, you give them value. You tell them a joke and make them laugh. You tell them something that you just learned. You tell them a story about something that you did that inspires them and motivates them and ultimately persuades them to do something. You give them value when you see them, and they look forward to seeing you. They may even reach out and initiate an opportunity to see you. Those are very important, and just being authentic through it all. Don't overthink it. Every time, if it makes it easier, every time you send an email, just think of talking to one person, just one person, hey, Jane, how's it going? Let me tell you this funny story. Or, oh my gosh, that was such a good time. However you would say it. And you'll notice that you write your emails so smooth. They are personalized for that person, and it builds a relationship with them that lasts, and hopefully for a really long time. But it's so much easier when you just think of it in that way. You think of personalizing as talking to a human. Like, forget all the language of email marketing. Just sit down. And a trick that will help you do all of these things is to record your email. And you can do like a transcription with Otter or another app, but just sit down like you're talking to a friend and record the whole email, but in a voice message way. So you don't want to record a message or record an email like you're having a back and forth conversation and you talk for 20 minutes. No, like a voicemail. Like, it's been a while. Well, maybe depending on who you talk to or how long you've talked to them. But I thought of you today because I was outside and, there was some construction going on, and it was really loud. And I thought about that time when fill in the blanks, and it's a super short conversation, but try recording yourself doing your emails. Try doing that, recording an email and seeing what you sound like. Does it sound like you? Does it sound like if you left this message and you never said this is, do they know who it's coming from? So on that note, let's connect. I am available in all ways. I love having conversations about email marketing and all the things that go with it. You can email me. You can go on the website. You can send me direct messages on social media, whatever is your jam, however you like to communicate. I can talk about this on any platform. So if anyone has any questions, please let me know. I'm not in the comments. Let's see. Just a moment. There's quite a few questions. I want to get to everybody. Oh, I have friends in here. Hey, how's it going? So there's a question. Would you say that the more a person knows about you would give them more to like about you, which has them trust you more? Meaning I have to give more. Yes. So that's not to say that you have to tell everybody all your business, that you have to tell them where you live, that you have to tell them the names of your children, that you have to tell them, details of your relationship. You don't have to do those things. choose things that connect with your audience. So and connecting allows you to super serve your audience. So for me, I typically work with female entrepreneurs. So the things that we connect with, or they would connect with, are things that are related to being a female. And that's generally speaking. So that might be right now, a lot of the conversations that I'm having with other business owners or entrepreneurs is school at home. So the challenge of running a business when you have young children at home, that you are, taking a big part in helping them get educated, or you are educating them. So they know about me that I have children and that I have young children, but they don't know the names of my children. However, they can decide that they like the one, that they know that I have children, but that they like, it gives them more to like about me when it comes to maybe the approach to it, or my feelings about it, or some communities that I've gotten involved with that I can recommend to them. And then they can trust that I have some of the same challenges, right? So that's the connecting piece. So you don't have to necessarily give more, you just have to give. And whatever giving means for your audience. So not everything is important. It's just really not always important. So some things that might not be important for me might be what part of town I live on. That's not a connector, because the relationship is all about making money with email marketing. And that's for folks that are making money, want to make more money, not making money, want to make some money, or just want to learn, what does that mean to make money with email marketing? What does that look like? But it doesn't matter how much money I have, it's about that. So where I live or what I have aren't really conversations. I hope that answers your question. And then there's a question. Yes, I miss you too, friends. Do you use plain text for most emails, highlighting a few key points in boldface? Do you add any graphics like a logo, letterhead? So yes. So I'm going to unpack that question. So plain text, make it scannable, because when you think about it, most people are reading your emails on their phone. So being mindful that now not everybody is sitting at a desktop. So they may be on their phone, they may be on their tablet. So having it scannable for them, plain text can work, but having it broken down. So you might have some headers of some main things that you want to focus on. If you have links to things like your product, your service, a shop, some outside resource, put those in buttons, because I can see that super quick. And they can go ahead and make that decision to click on the button. But you don't want it just a stream of consciousness. It's just a stream of text, because most times it doesn't even go in. And then to continue, highlighting a few points, and then graphics. So graphics are great, and also using like GIFs and using video. So you can really play around with that, because sometimes less is more. Sometimes images are 1,000 words, and sometimes you can really just do it in a video. Like, I want to tell you this really long message, so I put it in a video. So what would take, say 5,000 words? It's probably 5 minutes of a video. So play around with that. And then with the logo, letterhead, or border, stay true to your brand. So whatever template you choose, or however you choose to create a template, stay true to your brand. So use your Take advantage of your font if they have it. Take advantage of your logo. And then, so your text, your font, your logo, any graphics that are specific to you, add those in, and take a look at it. Send yourself a test. Send yourself a test of the email and see how it goes over on you. Take out who it's sent from and the content. Is it easy on the eyes for you? Is this something that you'd be excited to open up and go through? And sometimes that's how you can decide, what's good for you is good for somebody else. So making sure it's always branded, because humans are visual and sometimes we need to see it to believe it. And someone may not recognize your name, but as soon as they open it, they recognize the logo. And that makes it real for them. And then they go through and do all the things that you ask them to. So I hope that answers your question, but let me know if you want me to unpack it more. And then there's a question of, would video or voice emails be better? Hey, do both. Double dip. Do it all. Do all the things. See what resonates. So we all have a learning style, right? Some of us are text. Some of us are images. Some of us, we just do it all differently. So touch on all those points. Give your audience all the things and mix it up. Because if someone's on your list for a long time, you got to make it spicy. You got to do something different. Send a video one day, send a voice another day. And these are things a lot of times that they star, they make a favorite, especially depending on what kind of content it is. So if it's entertaining content, then they're definitely going to save that so that they can have a good belly laugh later. And if it's something that educates them and helps them win and move forward, then they save that as well. So do all the things. And should I introduce myself in emails, or should they be getting emails often that they know who I am? Meaning, no, always introduce yourself. We are getting so many emails every day. I mean, like a bunch, like sometimes hundreds of emails. And even though someone may know you and like you and trust you, they could just have one of those days like, who is this 8118? And it's just a slip of the mind. It's like, hey, it's me, Kenyana. It's nothing wrong with doing it every so often. So you can always check too and see who's opening your emails. So in your with your email provider, they do offer opportunities for you to see who opened, how many times they opened, what they clicked on. Note those people, because that's when segmentation comes in, where you can separate those out. And those are people that know your brand. They don't think about it. I mean, everyone has that moment. I have the moment a lot of times with people I know personally, but you know who's opening your emails. And if it's a lot of people that aren't, yes, every so many emails, you may say every 3 emails, but you're going to sign off with your name anyway, just like you would with a message, with any other email, like a signature type of thing. So you're going to say, it was good talking to you. No, that's not a good example. But you're going to have your name in there some way. So every few, maybe 3 emails, depending on how often you're sending them. So if you are sending 1 a week, yes, put your name in. If you're sending 2 a week, maybe every other email. If you're sending 3 a week, maybe every 3 emails. But see how often they're opening it, because that's going to be a big determining factor of if you're sending too many. Because if they're not opening them, you're probably sending too many, and it wouldn't matter if your name is in it anyway. But long story short, I got excited about that question. Then, yes, introduce yourself. Any other questions?
Hey there. I'm going to hop back on right with you. Look at your timing. That was perfect. Nice.
That was so fun.
Good. I'm glad you had fun. You had a lot of comments and questions there at the end, so that was perfect.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Sweet. So thank you so much for everything. Honestly, I was all ears the whole time. Sometimes I work and listen, and I was literally listening the entire time. So
Oh, goody.
yeah.
For those that are listening, I was telling Marie that I'm usually super structured in conversation. So I was like, let's just try having, talking to somebody for an hour. And, but with the questions, I can be super structured. And that was a good time. That was my jam. That was good.
Questions are always great. I think it's nice though to lead by example and speak how you would naturally. So that's how I end up stumbling over my words half the time, but it comes off authentic. And I think that people really enjoy that. So thank you so much for coming on again for a second year in a row. That's wonderful. Hopefully, it's not the last that we see you. And for anyone here that's live, thank you so much. For anyone that's watching the replay, if you have comments or want to interact, we will be checking back in the comments periodically, after this all airs and the replays go out, and we'll kind of take it from there. There is one last question, Yana, if you want to field that super quick, and then we'll go ahead and sign off, and we will see you. There's another session running right after this, and then I will see you again for a Buffalo session at 2 p.m. Central with Abby Spindelman. So.
Okay, so super quick, do you sign off with a message with your name, ID, and text below? Yes, make it your own. So whatever that looks like for you with the message, you can work your name in it some way. It can be, you use a logo at the bottom. You'd have to really see if it's giving, if you feel like it's super serving that person that's on your email list. But I'll leave it there, but yes, somewhere put your name in there, a logo, but always let people know it's you, that it's a real person. That's important.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Kenyan. I really appreciate your time. No, you're perfect. We did perfect. We're actually at 59 minutes, 21 seconds. So technically we have a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and give them back, I don't know. I'm bad at math, like 30 seconds of their time. And, thanks again. We will see you all soon and have a nice afternoon.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.